Hi, it's Danny Murphy. I want to talk today about reduction pruning. There's a maple behind me, and it's often the case where, the canopy of trees over a driveway in your house, in a backyard, front yard, wherever, have grown together, and you'd like to create a little space, get a little bit of open sky between the two canopies. Well, that's a situation where reduction pruning is in order. What helps is, number one, bring the tree branches back without removing the branches, without making large wounds on the trunks of the trees, which can eventually end up with creating pockets of decay that can destabilize the structure of the tree. Most guys have not been trained to do reduction pruning. The ISA, TCIA, the trade organizations have actually discouraged the practice, and that's very unfortunate. One of my major premises is reduction pruning is the most underutilized pruning method in the United States right now. And so here's a perfect example. A very well-trained climber, makes great cuts, conscientious, cares about the work. To be fair to him, I didn't specifically tell him how much clearance I wanted. But when I say I want some clearance between the maple and the pine, I basically mean I want to see some open sky up there. And what he ended up doing was just, he could have done it with a hedge trimmer from the look of it, He just made a bunch of like little half-inch cuts up there. Took about 2-3 feet off the ends of those branches. And what I'm going to show you here is another way of pruning, which is not to be afraid to take some big cuts, make some 2-3 inch cuts, take the end of some of these limbs off, and open up that sky between the two tree canopies. It lightens up the branches, which are often overextended. And to be clear, when I'm talking about reduction pruning, I am not talking about this type of cut here. I'm talking about taking some weight off of the branch tips on long horizontal and partially horizontal limbs like this. I rarely will ever take any height off of a mature tree. They don't handle that well at all. They're going to have a very adverse reaction to that type of pruning. But taking a weight off the ends of a few horizontal branches is not going to affect the overall health of the tree. And those are the branches that are most susceptible to storm damage during ice storms. And they just tend to be the ones that are overgrown and overextended, reaching for the light, especially on these Norway maples. So let's take a look at the type of cuts that were made by the first climber. And again, as the manager of this job, ANSI standards require, it's my responsibility to make clear how many feet the branches are to be removed. And I didn't do that. So this is really my responsibility. And a little common sense should tell you that this is being a Norway maple, making those small cuts, taking it about a foot, 18 inches off the ends of these branches is going to do very little long-term for the health of the tree, with the light penetration into the lower canopy, etc. Let's take a look and see how this pruning gets done. It's going to be quick and easy. We have the bucket truck here. Obviously, that makes it a lot easier than having the limb walk out on every branch. I'll just make a few quick cuts, boom, 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 and we'll be in and out here, fix this tree right. Hopefully the customer will be happy when we're done. So we have this first branch here. And I can see what he was trying to do. He was just trying to make some small cuts. He didn't feel comfortable making a big cut on there. But without a big cut, what's going to happen here? This is a Norway maple. It's a fast-growing tree. Those branches are just going to continue to grow out there, and they'll be all over that ironwood in a short period of time. So where are you going to cut it back? Well, you could just take the half of here, or half there, and then that half there. Or, you could even take it all the way back to this lateral right here. It's not 1/3 the diameter, but it would take over just fine. There's enough light there. It would try to fill back in and take over. This branch here, that should come all the way back into here. And then the ones above it, they have to come back somewhere till we really don't have a good camera angle to take a look at them. Let's see how we get started here on this first two branches. All right, now we're starting to see some daylight through here. It's a little bit of a different camera angle. And what it took that cut there, leaving that as a lateral, and this cut here, leaving that little tiny twig of a branch growing out there. That will recover. That should develop into a nice new limb at some point here. I could have taken it all the way back to the branch union over here, but it just isn't necessary. You can see we've got some good bit of room between the understory tree and the tree we're pruning now. That's about 7-8 feet now, just with 2 cuts, 10 feet maybe. And now we have the pine tree up here. A couple cuts up here, and we'll be seeing a lot of daylight here. It's going to make it a lot brighter down below us and give a much better feel to the trees. Let's take a look at some of these cuts. There's a couple there, there. There's 2 right there. Another one down in there. See that one? This was made by the original pruning. There's one there. And there's one there. And now we can see there's a lot more open sky between the two canopies. It's a lower story tree. The maple that was being pruned. And the white pine here. Open sky. It's a lot brighter down here now. It'll take a number of years before that gap closes. And in the meantime, we haven't made any big cuts on the trunk of the tree. We've left a couple fairly sizable reduction cuts, but any decay that develops in there will not destabilize the tree the way decay in the center trunk can. So let's take a look at it again. This is the before, and we'll shoot back and forth to the after. See those long branches now? They're shortened up. Some sky up there. It's a lot more prominent when you're actually there, seeing it in person and seeing it on this little computer screen. But that should give you an idea of the type of pruning I like to do to make some clearance between two canopies. So thanks for watching. Have a good day.